Добрый вечер. Я сделаю такое небольшое представление в начале. Меня зовут Анастасия, я работаю в российском представительстве University of the Arts London. Для тех, кто, может быть, не в курсе, University of the Arts London – это крупнейший дизайнерский вуз в Европе, возможно, и в мире тоже. Он объединяет 6 известных колледжей. Это колледжи Челси, Кембервелл, Уимблдон, Central St. Martin's, London College of Fashion и London College of Communication. Наше представительство в Москве занимается административными вопросами поступления студентов из России в этот университет и занимается также разными вопросами связи с общественностью. И, собственно, благодаря этому сегодня у нас в гостях лектор из колледжа Central St. Martin's, профессор, иллюстратор британский знаменитый. Кристофер преподает на курсах магистратуры и бакалавриата fashion, и его основная специальность является как раз fashion-иллюстрация. Прошу приветствовать Кристофер Браун.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Добрый вечер, меня слышно?
Okay. So, my name is Chris Brown, as you know, and I'm showing you a few slides, not too many, about 100. Don't laugh. The doors will be locked, and you can't escape.
Как вы поняли, меня зовут Крис Браун. Сегодня я хочу вам показать несколько слайдов, немножко, всего штук 100. И не смейтесь, двери будут закрыты, убежать вам не удастся.
Okay, so it's a journey that most designers take from the initial idea to an outcome, and that's what I'm really taking you on, a little journey.
Я хочу сегодня пригласить вас в путешествие, которое совершает большая часть дизайнеров одежды от идеи до ее воплощения.
So I teach at Central St. Martin's, and all the photographs I've taken over the years, so they're my photographs. I'm talking about my experience at Central St. Martin's, though I think what I'm saying will apply to London College of Fashion. It's the same process.
Я преподаю в Central St. Martin, и слайды, которые вы увидите, это мои фотографии. Я их делаю посреди учебного года. Я буду рассказывать о своем опыте в этой школе, и то, о чем буду говорить, также будет применимо к университету искусств в Лондоне в целом. Теперь мне придется жонглировать.
So, you know that Central St. Martin's is in London, and I thought this is London is hip and it has royalty, and I thought here we have some soldiers doing the hula hoop, so that's very about London.
Вот вам небольшая презентация Лондона. Это примерно так вы его, наверное, себе представляете. Наша школа находится в Лондоне. Такие вот солдаты крутят обручи.
I introduce you to two of the characters at Central St. Martin's. One is our Chancellor, Grace and Perry, here. And the other is a woman called Natalie Gibson, who taught me. So I'm old, and she is even older.
Вот такие персонажи у нас в школе. Справа это ректор, зовут его Грейсон Ферри. Слева Нэтали Гибсон, которая учила меня. То есть я старый, а она еще старше.
Okay. And as you know, everyone says fashion is outrageous, and this was one of the students I saw the other day on the sewing machine.
Вот это одна из студенток. Я проходил мимо и увидел, как она шьет на швейной машинке.
She believes in very simple makeup.
Она предпочитает простой макияж.
So we start our journey. The struggle is real. Some graffiti in one of the departments.
Вот такое граффити на одном из факультетов. Struggle is real, значит, борьба реальна. Мы начинаем наше путешествие.
And it's rather appropriate that we actually have half a garment here. You know, it's the beginning, it hasn't finished. Really, education continues. It's not about ending when you get a degree. You continue to learn throughout your lives.
И символично, что здесь изображена половина жакета. Это символизирует то, что когда вы выпускаетесь из университета, ваше образование не закончено. Вы должны продолжать его в течение всей жизни.
You know, so here are all these bodies waiting to be dressed.
Вот эти все тела ждут, когда их оденут.
So we put a lot of emphasis on research.
Мы большое внимание уделяем процессу исследований.
And research is really finding out more and more about more and more. And it comes from all different sources, and we should be inspired by everything.
И исследование — это знание всего о всем, и нас вдохновляет практически все.
So we might be inspired by our childhood.
Например, наше детство.
This is very appropriate because this is part of my childhood.
Вот это часть моего детства.
Or we may research and be influenced by art.
Или нас вдохновляет искусство.
Or costume, historical costume.
Или костюмы прошлых эпох.
So these are costumes at the V&A, the Victoria and Albert Museum.
Это костюмы из музея искусств Виктории, викториального.
And these I saw today, and I saw a couple of days ago in the Museum of Decorative Arts and Folklore.
Вот это я недавно увидела в Музее декоративного искусства в Москве.
I think it's very important as students and as non-students, we visit these great cultural institutions within our city.
Я считаю, что это важно и для студентов, и для тех, кто уже закончил образование, посещать вот такие центры искусства и истории.
And I want to say at University Arts London, obviously we have many students from many countries, and it's important that they bring their culture to us as well. They don't leave their culture at home. We're introducing them to the culture of London, but they're bringing their own culture as well.
В университете искусств лондонском у нас очень интернациональные студенты, они приезжают из разных стран, и очень важно, чтобы они привносили к нам свою культуру, а не оставляли ее дома.
And also, I think they're bringing many other things as well. They're bringing their gender, and that can be very fluid now.
Они приносят и другие вещи, например, свою половую принадлежность, которая в наши дни не является таким уж устойчивым.
And they're also bringing other issues as well. So they may have their own agenda, political, with maybe a small p.
Они привносят также и проблемы, и в том числе политические.
So London is a multicultural city.
Лондон многонациональный город, многокультурный.
And again, I'm just showing more slides of various collections in London and outside London. Things that I find exciting and I encourage students to go to see.
И я покажу также несколько слайдов коллекции одежды. Мне это очень нравится, и я призываю всех вас на это взглянуть.
So we can just quickly fly through these. So an army museum.
Просто быстро пролистаю. Это музей армии.
Or you may look at paintings from a particular period and the details within those paintings.
Можно обратить внимание особо на какие-то детали картин, созданных в определенную эпоху.
The other thing that is important is having your own sense of colour and thinking about the way that colour is used within creating a collection.
Также важно развивать свое собственное чувство цвета и использовать его как при создании коллекции.
This is a current exhibition in London, and it is work by a nun.
By what?
A nun, a religious.
Сейчас эта выставка проходит в Лондоне, и это работа монахини.
So ethnic costumes.
Этнические костюмы народностей.
Or, of course, in a way, high fashion. And here we have work of the House of Dior.
И в каком-то смысле даже высокая мода. Здесь мы видим работы дома Dior.
So this is Dior. This is Galliano for Dior.
Это Dior, Galliano для Dior.
This is Ralph Simmons for Dior.
Это Ральф Симмонс для Dior.
And apart from looking at real objects in collections, there is the other way to research, which is actually in a library. And at Central St Martin's and the other colleges, they have vast resources. So these are just some of the magazines that we have at Central St Martin's.
И кроме того, чтобы смотреть на реальные созданные объекты, есть еще и другие способы исследовать. Например, в Central St Martin есть библиотека, и, в принципе, колледж, университет искусств в Лондоне есть огромная библиотека ресурсов, и это просто часть ее малая, журналы мод.
So at all levels, from foundation through to BA, through to MA, all students will start with research.
И от самого начала, через бакалавриат, магистратуру, все студенты начинают с исследований.
This is research and drawing. Research is not just about going to books and coming to the tutor with 50 photocopies. You have to select why you've chosen this thing.
Исследование и рисунок. Исследование — это не просто прочитать там ряд книг и прийти к своему учителю с 50 ксерокопиями.
So I think it's very important that if you choose you're influenced by a designer here and here, and here, this one and this one, drawing helps you understand.
Если на вас влияет какая-то модель, например, здесь или здесь, когда вы рисуете, делаете рисунок, это помогает вам понять ее.
You use drawing to try and analyze what you are seeing.
Проанализировать то, что вы видите.
And also, it's very important when people start collections, they start to think about what is the general silhouette of the collection.
И когда вы создаете коллекцию, важно понимать ее общие очертания.
And these are three examples of a project I gave my MA students at Central St Martin's in fashion just a morning, not even a morning, to do some paper cuts, literally doing silhouettes of their silhouette, to reduce it to the basic form.
И вот этот проект «Три силуэта», который вы видите, это я попросил своих магистрантов вырезать, то есть создавать, делать силуэты силуэтов, чтобы свести это к самым базовым формам.
I was asked to teach on the MA because the head of MA at Central St Martin's was getting frustrated by the fact that the students were forgetting to draw.
И это очень разочаровывает, когда студенты забывают о том, что нужно делать рисунок, нужно рисовать.
So this is also research and also the start of how to think about what the designs will be.
Это тоже исследование, это начало того процесса, когда вы задумываетесь, какой будет ваш дизайн.
I'm not a great fan of using collage to start design, but I think sometimes it works.
Я небольшой фанат коллажа на этом этапе, но иногда он хорошо помогает.
So here we're using architectural or sculptural forms to create silhouette.
Здесь мы используем архитектурную или скульптурную форму для создания силуэта.
And again, research is drawing, but also sometimes research is actually making samples to try and figure out how something works in 3D.
И опять же исследование. Исследование — это рисунок, но иногда это создание образцов, чтобы увидеть, что получится в трехмерном формате.
So I'm just going to show a few slides of one little project. It's from a fashion design with marketing student.
Я хочу вам показать несколько слайдов. Это проект одного из наших студентов факультета fashion design и маркетинг.
And they have a project about denim. So part of that is to research denim.
Их проект называется «Деним», и в рамках него они исследуют эту ткань.
So the cover of the sketchbook.
Это обложка скетчбука.
Pages within. So looking at the history and how denim is used or has been used.
Это его страница. Это такой взгляд в историю, как использовался деним и как он используется сейчас.
Often we look at sketchbooks and they can become works of art, but really they are just a working document.
Мы иногда смотрим на такие скетчбуки, блокноты с эскизами, и нам кажется, что это произведение искусства. На самом деле это рабочий документ.
A documentation or a diary of how ideas are developed.
Это документ или дневник того, как развивается идея.
So here, sampling and also referencing the look, the feeling of what he's designing.
Здесь мы видим и образцы, и какие-то отсылки, чтобы передать ощущение того, что мы создаем.
And here we go into real drawing.
А здесь уже начинается настоящий рисунок.
Now, I think some of you may think I can't draw, but you can all draw.
Некоторые из вас думают, что не умеют рисовать. На самом деле это не так, мы все это умеем.
These aren't about great works of art.
Это не создать какое-то великое произведение искусства.
They're just the designer putting on paper what his or her thoughts are.
Это просто вы кладете на бумагу ваши идеи, дизайнерские задумки.
But I think it's very important that designers, there's not a real wrong and a right way, but I think it's very important that the whole figure is always considered.
Здесь нет такого понятия, как правильно или неправильно. Здесь важно иметь перед собой полностью вашу концепцию.
So it reinforces the silhouette.
Это укрепляет силуэт.
So this, we're saying this is very, very long, thin, not much across the shoulders. It's quite straight in a way.
Здесь, видите, такие длинные, тонкие фигуры, прямые.
Okay. This is print, a project I run with second-year menswear. Now, menswear is a particular favorite of mine department because I've been teaching on it for a long time, and I looked after the department for a year where my colleague was unwell.
Этот проект называется «Принт». Он связан с мужской одеждой. Это мое любимое направление. Я работаю в нем уже долгое время.
And this project is really to reinforce that the designer can produce their own print for the garments.
И этот проект о том, что дизайнер может сам создать принт для своей одежды.
And I tried to get them not to think digitally.
Я хочу, чтобы они думали, не полагались на помощь компьютера.
So we use many more basic forms of printmaking techniques.
И поэтому мы используем очень много каких-то базовых докомпьютерных способов создания принтов.
So this project always starts with me selecting a museum, a collection, and they have to go to the collection and draw.
И каждый такой проект начинается с того, что я выбираю музей, коллекцию, а студенты идут туда и начинают рисовать.
So one year I may choose a museum of childhood.
Иногда в один год я выбираю музей детства.
Another time I may choose an ethnological museum.
А в другой раз этнологический музей.
So here they are, drawing.
Вот они, мои студенты рисуют.
And then we have a very good archive at Central St. Martin's.
И в Central St. Martin's у нас есть очень большой, хороший архив.
And it's not a huge archive, but it's not like going to a museum and looking at their archive. So we have an archive which is available for all students.
И он доступен всем студентам.
So they can look and touch and feel the things.
То есть они могут приходить и трогать эти материалы. Это не музей.
And because it's print, this project, I chose some objects they could look at from the archive.
И так как проект называется «Принт», я им говорю, что искать в этом архиве.
So Japanese prints.
Японские принты.
And prints from the 1950s.
И принты 1950-х годов.
And we do a little workshop.
Вот это наш семинар.
It's like them going back to school.
Это как будто они вернулись снова в школу.
So this is they're working with lino. It's like potato prints.
Они работают с линолеумом. Это похоже на отпечатки, которые делают дети картошкой.
So we can see. So they're cutting.
Они делают гравюры.
Transferring their ideas from one medium to another.
Они переносят свои идеи с одного носителя на другой.
This is actually printing using, I think it's some sort of fruit.
А это отпечаток, я думаю, здесь использовался какой-то фрукт.
And this is lino.
А это линолеум.
And then they will start to think about how they apply their print to the garment.
А потом они начинают думать, как им использовать этот принт в предметах одежды.
So they need to start designing the garments.
То есть им нужно уже начинать разрабатывать, конструировать одежду.
And these, again, are just ideas. These are developmental drawings.
Это просто идеи, первоначальные наброски.
But always shown considering the figure.
Но всегда обращайте внимание на фигуру.
Very, very quick sketches.
Это очень быстрые наброски.
Again, they are just about the designer getting the ideas from their head onto paper.
Это попытка дизайнера переложить свою идею из головы на бумагу.
And again, more development work in sketchbooks.
И они продолжают работу в своих скетчбуках.
So obviously here, they're thinking of where the stars should be placed.
Здесь они размышляют на тему, куда поместить эти звезды, этот принт со звездами.
And sometimes I think it's a very good thing they work with a photograph as well, using a figure which they can play around with.
Я предлагаю им часто использовать фотографии, с которыми можно поэкспериментировать.
So, drawing, experimenting throughout the time they're doing this project.
То есть они экспериментируют на протяжении всего проекта.
So here he's just smearing the ink.
А здесь они размазывают чернила.
And eventually they will start to do their collection.
И в конце концов они приступают к созданию коллекции.
And so we will have a lineup.
Вот такая коллекция.
So this is drawing going one stage further. They're more technical drawings, in a way.
И это рисунок, развитие рисунка, он уже больше похож на технический рисунок.
Because we should be able to see how they're constructed.
Потому что по ним мы должны иметь возможность увидеть, как они сшиты.
So the print placed.
Вот это принт, а это принт уже помещенный на одежду.
Another example.
Еще пример.
And another one.
И еще.
But again, we're thinking where this is very interesting to use some sort of annotation when you are designing. I think sometimes you actually think about, sometimes you may use words to consider what you've done.
Это интересный такой прием, использовать аннотации, то есть подписывать свой дизайн, чтобы облечь слова ваше творение.
So here we have the full set. So the original here.
Здесь у нас полный набор. Это оригинал.
The repeat.
Вот это как бы копии, повторы.
How it is placed.
Здесь как они работают на одежде в рисунках.
Also thinking about the color.
И также продумывается уже цветовая гамма.
And then all projects or briefs end with a critique. And we ask the students to present to each other their work.
А затем все эти проекты, студенты показывают их друг другу и задают вопросы, критикуют и так далее.
So there it is. There's the black and white version.
Это черно-белая версия.
There's the version with color.
Здесь уже в цвете.
Okay? So I'm going to another project now.
Теперь мой третий проект.
And can you translate?
Что-то вроде чертовщина, то есть
Dog's
собака.
bollocks means the best.
Чушь собака. The best? Да, видимо, грубоватое слово для the best.
It can be, we can say the cat's whiskers.
Можем сказать кошачьи усы.
Or the bee's knees.
Или коленки, птичьи коленки.
But I like the dog's bollocks.
Но мне больше нравится вот это. Ну, давайте скажем чушь собачья.
So, this project is set to the first year students.
Вот этот проект уже для первокурсников.
And it's meant to be fun. It is, I think it's the thing about, it can be fun, but it can also be very serious. They should be serious about the work they make, but the work can be quite humorous.
В нем очень много юмора, он должен быть веселым, но в то же время и серьезным. Это серьезная работа с юмором.
So the premise, the idea of the project is we often say that the owner and the dog look alike. So I asked them to choose a dog and then design the collection for the owner of the dog.
И в основе этого проекта лежит идея о том, что собака и ее хозяин всегда похожи. И студентам предлагается выбрать собаку и создать одежду для ее хозяина.
So this project is for two of the fashion groups. This is for menswear and for also fashion design with marketing.
Это проект для обеих групп, обоих направлений. Это мужская одежда и фэшн-дизайн и маркетинг.
So it's called an illustration project.
Этот проект иллюстративный проект.
And really it's about illustrating throughout the process, from those first sketches through to the design development, through to the lineup, through to doing some wonderful illustrations at the end.
И здесь все предполагает иллюстрацию от самого начала до первых набросков, коллекции и конечного результата. Все предполагает иллюстрирование.
So we start with the drawing, we end up with an illustration.
То есть начинается все с рисунка, а заканчивается иллюстрацией.
But lots of experimentation on the way.
На пути они, конечно, много экспериментируют.
I believe that illustration or drawing shouldn't be limited to just pencil, paint. It can be anything you want it to be.
Я не верю, что иллюстрация и рисунок нужно ограничивать карандашом, краской, бумагой. Это может быть что угодно.
So here are some of the designs here. I've forgotten what the dog was on this one.
Вот несколько результатов этого проекта. Забыл я собак сюда добавить.
So these are his design drawings.
Это вот рисунки, эскизы.
That's a design drawing and a final illustration.
А это эскиз и небольшая иллюстрация.
So although it's not a real man, I think it was actually about an ape owning a dog. I think that was the point. It was an ape owning a dog. So the owner of the dog was an ape.
Это такого человека нет. Я даже припоминаю, что это была обезьяна, то есть хозяйка собаки была обезьяна.
And some more elegant interpretations of the project.
И вот несколько более элегантных результатов этого проекта.
And this student was referencing an American illustrator. It doesn't matter, but they're quite dark, funny stories. So the final illustrations were done in the style of someone else.
И здесь вот идет отсылка к американскому иллюстратору. Там такие темные истории с черным юмором. Я не буду называть имя. Вот. И здесь задача была создать иллюстрации в его стиле.
So if you look, that garment there.
Вот здесь одежда.
Becomes, I think, this one here.
И похоже на одежду вот здесь, я думаю.
But they treated it like a story, so they wrote a little story that went with it.
Но они взяли это и написали небольшую историю к этой иллюстрации.
So again, very different forms of drawing. The drawing of, the lineup, showing us where all the seams are, and then the more imaginative drawing afterwards.
И здесь абсолютно разные виды рисунка. Первый рисунок, он близок к техническому, он показывает нам все швы и детали, а второй уже больше похож на иллюстрацию.
So this person had lots of fun. They chose a West Highland Terrier, a Westie, a little white dog.
Вот этот человек, видно, что получал большое удовольствие от своей работы. Он выбрал небольшую такую белую собачку.
And here we have the collection, the illustrations or the drawings, here with colour. All these polka dots were made by the student. They don't actually exist as fabric. So they created their own fabric just by using marker pens.
А здесь уже видно коллекцию в цвете. Все вот эти рисунки, которые внизу, это создано самими студентами, то есть таких тканей не существует.
And I think they're very lovely drawings, but she pushed it a little further.
Человек пошел вот еще дальше.
And made them extreme.
И дошел до вот такой вот, до такого абсурда.
So this project, I should say, they have this for 2 weeks.
У них 2 недели на выполнение этой работы.
So in 2 weeks, they are asked to research. I asked for at least 50 design ideas.
За эти 2 недели им нужно провести исследование. Я требую предоставить как минимум 50 идей дизайнов.
And then a lineup of 6.
Коллекцию из 6 моделей.
And then 3 final illustrations.
И 3 готовые иллюстрации.
That's quite a lot of work.
Это много работы.
And so in a year, they would do probably 6 2-week projects and projects which are much longer.
И через год они уже будут делать 6 таких 2-недельных проектов и более длительные проекты.
Again, rather lovely drawings, but even better illustrations.
Еще прекрасные рисунки и еще лучшие иллюстрации.
And I think this is reinforcing the mood that this student wanted to create with the collection. So it's very south of France, very 1930s.
И эти иллюстрации как бы усиливают настроение, которое человек хотел создать своими моделями. Видно, что это 930-е годы.
And probably also looking at women's wear and translating women's wear into men's wear.
Также идея была в том, чтобы взять женскую одежду и сделать из нее мужскую.
So obviously a dachshund. Oh, sorry, the dog is a dachshund.
Вот порода собаки, такса, наверное.
More versions.
Еще,
So these show all the processes going on together.
еще один вариант на этом слайде. Весь процесс показан от начала до конца.
Again, very analytical drawings. They're quite artistic, but there's lots of annotation going on.
Здесь человек аналитически подошел, очень художественно на высоком уровне сделано, но и много аннотаций.
And they're encouraged to try materials or techniques they haven't used before.
Я предлагаю им использовать материалы и техники, которые они раньше не использовали.
It's only one project, and they can make mistakes.
Это один проект, и они могут допустить ошибки.
So the illustrations.
Иллюстрации.
And I was talking earlier about bringing your culture to the colleges within UAL. This student was a Buddhist and was looking at Buddhism for the collection.
Я упоминал уже о привнесении своей национальной культуры в наш университет, и этот студент буддист, и он черпал вдохновение именно там для своей коллекции.
So there's the collection, and these are the illustrations.
Это коллекция, а вот это иллюстрации.
It's a lot of the one thing a lot of people think about is that when they go for a job, and it's very important, we want the students to get jobs. It's no good producing students that don't get work.
Очень важно для нас, чтобы студенты наши потом работали по специальности, иначе наша работа коту под хвост.
A lot of the design houses all want the students to be able to draw.
И все художественные школы, дизайнерские школы хотят, чтобы их студенты умели рисовать.
To have those other technical skills are very good.
То есть эти другие технические навыки — это очень хорошо.
But often I see portfolios which all they show in the portfolios are finished garments.
Но иногда я вижу портфолио, где все, что там есть, это готовые изделия.
And that's not a portfolio, that's a lookbook.
Это не портфолио, это что-то другое.
So the third project I teach is called The Muse.
И третий проект, в котором я учу, называется The Muse.
And this is for second year knitwear students.
Это для второкурсников отделение вязаной одежды, трикотажа.
And it's a project which they have for about, they're given the project before Christmas.
И им дают задание перед Рождеством.
They work on research over Christmas.
Они все каникулы рождественские занимаются исследованиями.
And then we finish about 2 weeks later when they return.
И когда они возвращаются, через 2 недели они должны закончить его.
So what we want the students here to do is almost forget their fashion students and to try something very, very different, is to think of themselves maybe as artists or filmmakers or illustrators, something not about fashion. They can use the skills of fashion, but they don't need to make a garment.
И мы требуем от них, чтобы они забыли о том, что они студенты, чему они учатся, и представили себя в роли режиссера, художника и так далее, чтобы они использовали свои другие навыки для создания предметов одежды.
Again, we start with research.
И, как всегда, начинается все с исследований.
Again, we go to a collection, a museum.
Мы идем в музей, смотрим коллекции.
And this time, they are asked to select an object within the collection.
И здесь им требуется, чтобы они выбрали какой-то объект из этой коллекции.
And construct a narrative about that object.
И создали историю из этого объекта.
Imagine who owned that object.
Представили, кому она принадлежала, эта вещь.
And then create a piece of work that somehow explains that narrative.
И потом создать какой-то предмет, который объяснял бы эту историю.
So, this is the end of the project.
Это уже конец проекта.
And I try each year to make it like a gallery.
И каждый год я делаю выставку, такую галерею из этих проектов.
And each year we invite celebrity guests to come in to look at the work.
И каждый год мы приглашаем известных людей на эту выставку.
And so they have never seen the students before, they have never seen the work before. So the students get a very honest and sometimes quite painful critique of their work.
То есть они не знают студентов, они никогда не видели эти работы раньше, то есть они получают очень откровенные отзывы, критику, иногда болезненную.
So these are some of the outcomes. So this student, his muse was light.
Вот, например, результаты. Здесь ее предмет это был свет.
I've forgotten what the muse was, but again, the only thing that is vaguely knit here is bits of string that are wound round chairs.
И я забыл, какой здесь был предмет. Но здесь нитки намотаны беспорядочным образом вокруг стульев.
Oh, sorry. Let's say this. So there, So the student has to explain to our guests what the work is about.
И студенту приходится объяснять гостям, что он имел в виду.
Further presentation.
Еще презентация результатов.
And this student was Israeli.
Этот студент израильтянин
From a very orthodox Jewish family.
из ортодоксальной еврейской семьи.
So it was dealing with her orthodoxy, coming from a strict Jewish family.
То есть она работала со своими твердыми религиозными устоями, которые она получил человек в семье.
This student is now one of the designers at Missoni.
Этот студент работает дизайнером в
This girl here,
Миссонии.
she's a very lovely student. She's a twin.
Лаки?
A twin.
Лафи? Лаки?
Lovely.
Это прекрасная студентка, она одна из близнецов.
And this is in her second year on the BA. She then went to the MA.
Здесь она на втором курсе бакалавриата, потом она пошла в магистратуру.
At Central St. Martin's, and she was asked to join Missoni.
И в Central St. Martin's, и ее пригласили в Миссони.
And this is her presentation.
Это ее презентация.
It's about being a twin.
Это о том, каково быть близнецом.
And identity.
И идентичность.
Two more recent projects.
Еще два проекта.
And this one is about the Yellow Jacket movement in Paris.
Это о движении желтых жилетов в Париже.
An installation, melting ice.
А это инсталляция «Тающий лед».
So all these things I'm showing you come from the students' research, their imagination, their intelligence to work in a not normal form of working for fashion students.
И то, что я вам показываю, это все работа студентов. Это результат их исследований, результат их поисков, воображения, их ума. Это не похоже на моду какую-то.
So I think it's very interesting when I see portfolios, and I look at a lot of portfolios, it's very interesting when I see a portfolio that has something other than just more fashion in it.
И я думаю, это ценно для портфолио, потому что когда я просматриваю портфолио, а я их смотрю очень много, я ищу прежде всего что-то не связанное именно с модой.
I'll fly through these quickly.
Я быстро пролистаю вот эти слайды.
And again, explaining to the guests about their work.
Это объяснение гостю своего результата своей работы.
So, a student from Croatia,
Студентка из Хорватии,
a Chinese student,
из Китая.
and quite a powerful piece about being Chinese and gay.
Это довольно мощное сочетание. Он и китаец, и гей.
Gay.
Гомосексуалист.
Happy. He's very happy.
Он очень счастливый человек.
And some work is not actually made. Some work is just proposed. Like a conceptual artist, the student had this idea of creating this environment, but he didn't really have the technology to know how to do it.
И можно некоторые, не все работы это уже готовые какие-то произведения. Некоторые студенты предлагают концепции. У них нет ни средств, ни представления, ни технологий, чтобы воплотить их в жизнь.
We're coming to the end, the final frontier.
Мы подходим уже к концу. Это наш последний рубеж.
So the students have spent 4 years at Central St. Martin's on the BA.
В Central St. Martin's студенты проводят 4 года.
I think some of the LCF courses are also 4 years.
LCF?
LCF, London College of Fashion.
Ага. Я думаю, что в Лондонском колледже искусства примерно столько же учатся студенты.
So the third year is often a year that is taken out, a year where they work in industry.
Sorry.
So in the third year.
Где? Хорошо, на 3-й год они уже уходят работать.
They work in industry. They go and work in industry.
Они уже начинают реально трудовую деятельность. I'm sorry.
It's my fault. So they return to do their final collection, having worked, for either Louis Vuitton or Raf Simons or Margiela. And you don't need to translate those words. I think they know those words.
То есть они под свою финальную итоговую коллекцию создают уже отработав год в Louis Vuitton и так далее.
So the countdown. Oh, sorry.
Это обратный отсчет.
So this is what's happening at the moment.
Это вот что происходит сейчас.
So we are, we're somewhere around here.
Где-то мы здесь сейчас находимся.
That's right. That's Good Friday. So,
это Страстная пятница.
And this is also, I saw this.
Вот что я увидел. Шедевр.
So they're depressed, stressed, but well dressed.
В депрессии, в стрессе, но хорошо одет.
I think it's very nice that graffiti appears.
Мне очень нравится, что появляются граффити.
And it's usually humorous.
Обычно они смешные.
I just move on a bit, but so they have grown and are far more competent and more confident in their work.
В своих работах они появляется у них все больше компетентности и все больше уверенности.
So I think this collection, obviously influence is religious garments.
Я думаю, эта коллекция вдохновлена религиозными одеждами, облачениями.
Silhouettes being developed.
Были разработаны силуэты.
Design development.
Вот как появлялся дизайн.
And so we are now looking at the collections either in toile form. Is it toile? It's a French word. So toile. You know what a toile is? A toile? Yeah, toile. Yeah. So these are the designs, the fitting.
Вот подгонка, вот от дизайны.
Again, it's very important at this stage to have very good line-up drawings.
Здесь на этом этапе очень важно создать хорошие вот такие рисунки коллекции, эскизы.
Because in the line-up drawing, you should be able to see what the details are, what the silhouette is.
Потому что в таких рисунках необходимо видеть, где швы, где какие детали находятся.
Here we're also looking at fabric as well.
И также и какие будут ткани, чтобы они текстуры чувствовались.
So then it's hard work making garments.
Создавать одежду — это тяжелый труд.
And these are the toiles. So basically in calico, made in calico.
Ну вот такая ткань
So
подсказывает.
so there is it's a rough version made in calico, and then this is going to be embroidered on.
Вот это грубая версия, выполненная из такой грубой ткани. Здесь предполагается вышивка.
So there's a sample.
Это образец.
So there's a sample. So drawings. Again,
Рисунки.
samples line up.
Образец, эскизы.
I thought I'd try and shock you all. And this is Tigran's work, isn't it? Tigran? Yeah. Yes, so this is Tigran.
Это работа Тиграна.
This is Tigran's toile lineup. So Tigran left Central St. Martin's, I think, in 2013.
Это его коллекция. Он выпустился из Сент-Мартина в 2013 году.
I'm one of the most intelligent students I've ever taught.
Это один из самых умных, интеллигентных студентов, с которыми я когда-либо говорил.
And again, we have here is final lineup.
Вот это итоговая коллекция.
So we've got that one again. I'm in the wrong order, sorry. And then it's also still they're making, so they're experimenting and making as well.
Вот это тоже пример экспериментов творчества, ручного труда.
And this is he's very famous now.
Теперь этот человек очень знаменит.
And this is his degree collection.
Вот это его выпускная коллекция.
It's Craig Green, you know. So he's called Craig Green.
Его зовут Крейг Грим.
Yeah. So I'm just showing you some examples of going into. So these are just the few weeks before. This is probably a week before the catwalk show.
Вот это за неделю до показа.
And this is the day of the catwalk show.
Вот это день показа снято.
And there's an example of that on the catwalk.
И вот это пример, как это выглядит на подиуме.
But again, this is almost going back to. He's one of my menswear students. Going back to the print project, doing things by hand, very low-fi, so everything was painted.
И вот здесь вот это хорошая иллюстрация, как студенты делают все без использования компьютера, все руками и красками.
Backstage.
Это бэкстейдж показа.
And this, she was, I think, she was a knitwear student, and then went on to the MA. This is her BA show.
Вот это ее выпускной показ из бакалавриата. Потом она пошла в магистратуру.
Everything is knitted.
Все здесь связано.
So knitted round these objects.
Обвязано вокруг объектов.
And this last year's show. We had some installations as you came into the fashion show.
Вот здесь вот у нас инсталляции на нашем модном показе.
And these are just some random shots now. I'll fly through these of various collections over the past 5 or 6 years.
Это просто несколько снимков из коллекции за последние 5 лет.
So stilt walking,
Здесь она на
Sculpture. Another quite well-known student called Matti Boven, who's now doing quite well. So we have 100 or so students in all the pathways, and we show the work. So sorry, you've. Hang on, wait a minute. I use this. I can talk about it. So,
У нас на разных потоках сотни студентов обучаются.
So we have 100 students from all the pathways, and we have a show for them and their friends and their parents.
И мы устраиваем показ для них, их друзей и семьи, близких.
So of the 100 and so, it's actually more like 120, that is reduced to 40 for the press show.
И из 120 выбирается 40 для показа для СМИ.
So a couple of years ago, the students who didn't get into the press show sort of had a protest and showed their work outside the college.
И студенты, которые не попали в этот показ для прессы, они были, в общем, раззадорились и устроили показ прямо напротив колледжа.
This is a fashion print student's work.
Это студент из направления принтов, его работа.
You saw this one for us is menswear and women's wear.
Здесь мужская и женская одежда факультета.
This is MA fashion.
Магистратура факультета моды.
There's a chicken on the head.
Здесь у меня курица на голове.
And, you know, the quiet and the outrageous.
Вот здесь вот все тихо, мирно или наоборот очень бурно.
And he's very funny.
Это очень смешно.
So he came down the catwalk. He's the designer. He came down the catwalk.
Он дизайнер, он пришел сам на
Harry is
подиум,
dead.
и написано «Гарри мертв».
This is print and knit.
Принты и вязка.
Women's wear and knit.
Женская одежда и вязка. Это название направления.
And that's the final shot.
Это последний снимок.
Thank you so much.
Спасибо вам огромное.
In the beginning of your speech, you mentioned that a very important part of the research takes place in the library. So I was wondering, what books would you recommend to read?
It depends what you're researching. I mean, it could be nuclear physics.
Well,
I think I would say that probably any. It's hard. Again, it could be about color theory, for example. A good book on color theory. Again, it's very hard to say. I mean, it really is about what the project is about. I would say that, you know, and I'm going to sound like a very old man now, that you millennials hardly read. So I think it's very important you read all the time and you look all the time. I think with libraries are still vital. Google is not the only answer. It throws up, you know, the first thing, and lazy students will go for the first thing that comes up. So I think part of research is discovering, in a way like Google. I'm sorry, I'm so you can't translate us. I mean, so hopefully some of you may be able to understand. But it's like I go along and I go into a door, into a room. And in the room, there are 3 more doors. And I go through door number 1. And through door number 1, there's another room with 3 more doors. And I go through door number 2, and there's another room. So it's endlessly opening doors. Research is about sometimes the unexpected. I think research, you sort of have an idea about what you want to research, but then things sort of come into view. So it becomes very exciting when you can find something, discover something new. So I would say just, you ask yourself a question, and then you try and resolve that question. So you may go to the obvious thing, and the obvious thing may send you along another path. So does that help?
Yeah, that helps. Thank you.
Sorry.
Is there an age limit to study in St. Martin's?
No.
Bachelor's
No.
degree?
I'd be very happy if more older people came.
Oh.
Then I could relate to them.
Just the minimum age limit.
The minimum age, but no maximum age. I think education is very important. I think sometimes expectations have to change. For example, the fashion industry is like a vampire, and it tends to suck the blood out of young people. So I think they're always wanting something new, and it's that awful sort of treadmill. So the new young person comes along, the new young person comes along, so it's like they're falling off, I think it's very important that one is a lot of people come to university to do a BA maybe when they're 20. I think 25 wouldn't be too old, 30 wouldn't be too old. I think then, but that person at 30 may think, okay, they are a bit further behind, but maybe they don't want to work in the industry that the 20-year-old wants to work in. They may have a different agenda. They've got life experience. They can think about fashion or another form of a design in a different way. I think, there's one thing about you don't want to get to a certain age in your life and think, oh, I wish I had done that. So I think it's very important that you don't go to your grave thinking, oh, if only I had been the train driver, if only I had been an astronaut. So I think I think it's always important to take risks. We do want older students. I think it's very important. We believe in that diversity. We're not, I would love to have, we can't have equal men, equal women, and all those variations now. But it's, one would like to have a broader spectrum of society. Hopefully we're getting there, but it's slow.
But do you have scholarships? Because
there are certain scholarships. MA have scholarships. BA not very many. I think there may be some. They're more. The scholarships would often come from the country of origin. Or there's some. There are scholarships around. You can look at them. They can be very, very obscure.
yeah.
For a girl with red hair wearing leopard skin jacket, she gets a scholarship. Sometimes it's from a certain region. There may be somewhere, a certain region, maybe there's for one student to study abroad. Yeah.
What do you think about mental health of your student? It's not a secret what happens in
The mental health issue.
Academy of Arts in Antwerpen, and have you got any sports?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. We're very aware of that, with that throughout the university, and it's something we're very worried about and very concerned about. Obviously, when I interview students, you don't know what's going to happen. You are young, well, it doesn't really matter, young or old. Things happen in our lives which can upset, change. Yes, we have support for those students who find it difficult. We try to track the students. Obviously myself and my colleagues, we are with the students, as much as possible, and we can notice variations in behaviour, or maybe not disappearing from college. I think there's a big problem for your generation. There's so much pressure on you, more pressure than when I started, and I think part of the pressure is Instagram, Facebook, equating a like with being liked or unliked. And I think there's that pressure. I've got so many friends. Well, it doesn't mean nothing. I mean, I think so one has to be, obviously, we hope that the student who may be having trouble will come and discuss those problems with us. It's always difficult. I mean, you can't, one hopes and prays that all the students will be happy, but that's utopia. Young people coming away from home, falling in love, falling out of love, money worries, all those sorts of things happen, but they happen throughout our lives. But a university, if it's it's good, and I think we are a good university, we do try and feel that you are part of a family.
Thank you.
Yes. So, anyone from that side? Sorry, are these the English speakers here?
This one is about sketches and drawings. You said a lot about sketches and drawings.
Yes, yeah.
I was wondering, how many sketches and drawings do your students have to do daily? And I was wondering if there's a limit of them, like 50 a day or 20.
Well, for example, so with one of my projects, a lot of the projects are 2-week projects. So, and I will see them twice the first week, maybe 3 times the second week. So they will come, and I'm going to use my analogy here. So a student comes to me and they have nothing to show. Okay? So what do? I go, so what I say, I say, okay, I'm here till such and such a time, go away and come back and see me at the end of the day with some ideas. Because there are 2 things I describe myself as. One is a mirror, and a mirror reflects what it sees. If there's nothing to see, there's nothing to reflect. So if you hold me up something, if I'm the mirror and you're standing in front of me, then we can have this sort of backwards and forwards. If you're just like a blank nothing, a vampire, disappeared, then forget it. Then my task, my job is, so I'm going to use the word midwife. I'm a midwife. And I'm there to help facilitate a wonderful birth. I'm there to help you give birth to this wonderful, you have the idea, I'm not there at the conception, you conceive, I help you through that pregnancy. And at the end, we have something wonderful. So, it's, I would say do more. I think don't be satisfied with the first idea. I think if you have, if I talk, say, you have an idea for a garment, okay? I would say then think of 10 variations of ideas for that garment. And if you do 6 garments and you do 10 variations for each of those garments. That's going to give you 60 ideas. And then you can select what is best. So it's not, very rarely is the first idea the only idea. Anything from this side of the table? Can you come down here, Kyle? Or, yeah, come, unless you can shout a bit louder, Con.
It'll be a bit strange if I shout. So my question was, is there like a sort of a time limit on research? Because
yes,
or does it vary on the theme?
I think it depends. One, it depends on the length of the project, and I think then it's the other thing is research usually can go on and on and on. I mean, you get you can research forever and ever.
Yeah, because you can.
But I think you have to. Sometimes we have to do an artificial cut-off point to say, okay, let's stop researching now and go on. But within that development, you may then still be researching something else, like different fabric or something. So it could be the research into the fabric or the stitching within the fabric. So that's still. So there's, I think. Some students love research and they will go on and on and on. And if you don't, take them off that track, they'll never do anything else. So yes, I think that there will be points in a project where you say, okay, now we have to sort of start resolving it. Even with the final years, they will do. I said their 12 lineup, and at that point you can say. You need to change, or you need to go back to something here and relook at it. Is that an answer for you?
Yeah, thank you.
Anything else at all?
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Yes. Question is, do you have shoe design courses or something about only shoes, footwear?
No, it's at LCF, Cordwainers.
London College of Fashion.
London College of Fashion. Yeah, really good. Cordwainers I mean, it was a very old college and it's now part of London College of Fashion. Yeah, I mean, it's wonderful. I mean, a lot of very famous shoe designers have gone to LCF Cordwainers. I mean, that's it's like millinery. It's a very specific version of fashion. And I think that's the thing is to try and identify an aspect of fashion that you're really interested in or you want to excel in. The shoe design is a wonderful thing. It's almost like product design, really. And of course they also do contour as well at LCF, which is very much about corsetry or the fitting very close to the body.
Chris, maybe you could also say a couple of points about the short courses that you have, because I don't think that people are aware of this kind of course.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, throughout the summer and throughout the year, the colleges run a series of short courses, which you can tap into and try something new or try to develop a certain technique. It could be experimental pattern cutting, for example, or it could be embroidery. So there's certain things you can tap into. Look at the short courses on the UAL website. There are lots and lots of them, and some are very specifically directed towards a younger audience as well. There's also, obviously, there are very many different ways of coming into fashion. One way is obviously through foundation, either at LCF or at Central St Martin's. There's also the diagnostic courses as well within foundation. It's a very, I think fashion has a very, in a way, bad name, because I think a lot of people think fashion designers are facile and stupid. They're very intelligent. They are, you look at the designs around today, it's not just about making pretty frocks. I mean, sometimes there's too much red carpet frocks for my liking, but you know, fashion is now dealing with a lot more issues. You know, we talk a lot about sustainability at the Central St Martin's and at LCF. You know, we have to address, you know, what we are doing to the environment, and also about the way we are overproducing garments. And I cannot understand how you can buy a T-shirt for, I don't know, 25 rubles or something. I mean, it's something ridiculous. And you're thinking, so how much was the person paid to produce this garment? So there is slavery going on, you know, or very, very, I mean, it's like the 19th century. I sometimes think, have we moved on, you know, and lots of the big brands were responsible for this as well, you know. So I think they need to address, and there's a lot more discussion, a lot more awareness of either of the way that fashion has a responsibility to the environment, to its workers. One would say that's where maybe, you know, we've grown used to actually buying clothes cheaply. Maybe if we bought fewer clothes and paid more for them and lived with them longer, it would be much better. Or made our own. Yes?
How do you think, is it important for a student to balance out the work and study? Because sometimes you should focus on your studying, but sometimes you have to work at the same time, and it's
Yes.
but does it help you develop life?
Well, I think, you know, if I was asking a student in the first year, and you said, how many hours a week do you spend at college? And they would say 40 hours or 50 hours work. And I'd say, how many hours do you work in Subway or McDonald's or whatever? And they would say 25 hours. I would say that's too much. You know, I think it is trying to get a balance. I would say try and get a better paid job and do less hours. But, you know, I would say that when you're young, you should be able to put a lot more hours in than when you get older. So I think, yes, we all need money. We all need to pay our bills and study. I think it's trying to get, it is hard to get that balance right. But again, I would say, when you're young, you should be able to party hard, play hard, and work hard. You know, it's you know, but life is always about trying to get those balances right. It's like we're never happy. But I think you know, but I think we're very aware that students do have to work. And for example, if I have a student who may be doing some work, one day of the week, I would try and rearrange a tutorial with them. So I sometimes will work around them, that, you know, they can't come in the morning because they're doing some work. And I say, well, do you want to come in later in the afternoon, or do you want to see me later in the week? So we try and accommodate all those things for our students. Anyone else want to ask a question? Meaning of life?
I believe the question that everybody's asking, is it difficult to get into the University of Arts?
Into what?
Into your university.
Yes.
Really?
Yes. I have just spent, since September, looking through portfolios. And I'll go back and I'll look at more portfolios for MA. So for foundation, fashion and textile pathway at Central St Martin's, overseas students. I looked at 600 portfolios, and I could make not 38, not 40, but 39 places. So that is roughly just about 6% and a bit, I think, of those who applied. For BA, also very, very high applications. But you know, I try, when my responsibility within Central St Martin's International Office, I look after all the applications for fashion, but I will not accept anyone. I try and sift through ones that my colleagues, the pathway leaders, can look at. So I go back next week and I've selected about 15 portfolios for women's wear for them to make 2 offers. Menswear, there's been a bit of something's gone wrong, so we've actually got 9 places available. And I've got about 26 people coming in. So it is very hard, but I think it's not, you know, I would say foundation is one way forward. There's another thing called Fashion Folio, which is a very, very successful way of getting onto the BA. And try, you know, when I look at my sheet, it comes up and it says applied 18, 19, and we're now in 19, 20 or whatever. So a student who has applied before, I will always give them a second chance. I will always put them forward. Something may have gone wrong. So I think that everyone deserves a second chance. But again, it's, you know, I would always suggest, you see my colleagues here, if you're thinking of applying, see if any of the staff from Central St Martin's or from the University of Arts are coming, particularly maybe ones with a fashion strength, and get some advice, ask them some advice about portfolios. I would think that if you're applying for BA, I would like to see 4 collections. And other work as well. But the other work can be, you know, your Instagram account, or photographs you've taken, or, you know, make me interested. You know, I would say make me interested in you. I mean, it's more than just more frocks or more suits. It should have something really. It should be saying something. You know. You know. Again, you have to write a statement. That's very important. I would say for me, secondary to the first, I would look at the work first of all. And if I like the work, and I think the work's really wonderful, you just fine, then I'll read the statement. When you write a statement, make it sort of personal but interesting. So I don't want to know that ever since you were 4, you sat on your granny's knee and you've been knitting. You know, I've heard that. Or that you want to attend the University of Arts London, CSM, Wimbledon, wherever, because it is a well-known college. Well, we know that. That's why you're applying. So say, you know, make it interesting. You know, you could say something about, you know, you could say, being from a racial minority within a country, I think it's really interesting, but I'm trying to deal with issues about that, and my work says something about that, or being a woman, or whatever. You know, it should be, you know, you've got about 250, 500 words. Say something that's, you know, interesting. But really it's the work that sells you. And the portfolio is a visual representation of you and your personality. It shows you off at your best. So that's why take care when you're putting it together. So don't let it sit underneath your bed, gathering dust, and let the mice eat it. You know, keep on looking at it, adding to it. You know, get a friend to look through it. You know, it's there to represent you. What's the first thing you put in your portfolio? Think about that. The first thing you see when you do a portfolio. I say, this is a portfolio. Or a book. So when you open a book or a magazine, this page is always the important page. The page that we see first of all. This page is usually a reflection on that page. So this page, I can see this wonderful thing here, and then I look at it, and here can be all the information about what this thing is. So it's like a sort of two-way thing. This is, it's reflecting back. So I'm looking at this and I go, okay, that's where it's come from. I turn the next page, okay, that's the same thing. So it's always the facing page, the right-hand page is important. Okay. Anything else? Yes.
Which advices you can give for your students when maybe some tips if they don't have enough motivation? You were talking about
motivation.
Yes.
Get some. I don't know. I mean, I always say give yourself time limits. I mean, I work. I know that I have a lot of clients, and I will. If I'm stuck, I will go out for a walk, or go and draw, or do something different from what I've got to do, or go to Starbucks, or I don't really like Starbucks, but go to a coffee shop and try and resolve a problem in the time it takes me to drink a cup of coffee. So I think it's very important you, if you get stuck, you know, if you're not motivated, then just go out and draw. Just go and take your mind away from this thing, and it comes back. But to have a sketchbook with you at all times is vital. I think because you need to have that idea. If you have an idea on the metro or wherever, and then you don't have a sketchbook, it's almost like a dream, you've forgotten it very quickly. But if you put it down, however badly drawn or written it is, it will stimulate your imagination or remind you about what you were thinking about. So I think to motivate is, I'm not a coach, you know. Motivation is a very strange thing. I mean, you know, I know with certain students, sometimes you want to beat them around the head, you know. Other times you want to give them a lump of sugar. Come on. Other times you just want to go bang, bang, bang. You know, wake your ideas up. When I was a student, I was a great procrastinator. I had a tutor, and he actually literally, I was much thinner then, but he grabbed me, something you can't do now to a student, and he said, "You lanky streak of piss, you know, do some work." So, you know, so I've learned from it. I don't do that to a student, but I try to encourage. You know, I try and say, you know, I'm the half full rather than the half empty person. I like to try and encourage people to do things, to try and push themselves. You know, I can't stand laziness. And I think that's really, what I really dislike is when I know someone's talented and they don't do anything with it. That's so frustrating. But sometimes you get a student who maybe is not so good, but they really work. And that's always really, really interesting. You know, I think the student that asks, it's always good to a student to have asked questions. You know, I think it's really important. They don't just sit there like a sausage or something. I mean, they've got to interact. You know, I think to motivate, well, they chose a career in a way, I suppose. They choose what they're doing. So I hope that what we set them in the first and the second years, you know, they are set projects. By the time they get to their final year, they have to select. They choose how they define what they think fashion is. I mean, or product design, whatever. It doesn't really matter. But you know, in their final year, they are defining who they are and what they want to design. It's also, I think, very important that, you know, we're teaching designers. We're teaching designers to think, and we're teaching them not to design what's already there. You are designers of the future. You know, that's what I think is, that's why, you know, we see some very maybe outrageous or silly things or whatever, you know, a lot of, you know, the papers in London always go, oh, you know, someone was walking down the catwalk wearing a kitchen sink. But there's a reason why that was. You know, it wasn't just done there purely as to get publicity. Does that some help at all?
Yes.
Anything else?
I have a question.
Yes.
Well, you said 1 minute ago about silly things that are done in that book, but it's really ugly.
Sorry.
I wanted to say that it's not real goals. Ну, короче, ну это же...
Это стейтмент или вопрос?
Ну, я хотела спросить,
She's wondering, because yeah, you showed some things that are really strange and they don't look like clothes. And don't you find this ugly?
It's my taste has nothing to do with it. I'm not there to be an arbiter of taste. I think I can judge whether it's a good drawing and an exciting drawing. I think when it's made into a garment, I say it's not about what I want a student to do, it's about what they want to do. I may not actually like what they do, but again, that's not my job. My job is not to judge them on a matter of taste, it's actually whether it's good of its kind. That's what I need to do, is to, you know, you are the designer, I am just there to, I said, help facilitate that idea. Yes, I do find some things ugly, I do find some things ridiculous, but that's the person who's created it, and that's what they want. You know, so I'm not there to, you know, I think all the teaching, and I'm sure, I can speak for all my colleagues, we're not prescriptive teachers. We don't tell you to, you know, keep on taking the tablets and this, you know, this is what, if you need to do this, this and this if you want to get a good mark. We will say, you need to do work if you want to get a good mark. So I don't think we're trying to make you ambitious for yourselves. I can't be ambitious for you. I can want you to do really well, but I can't give you that ambition. That has to come from you. I can try and help you with that. I can try and suggest things. Why don't you see this? Why don't you try that? Sometimes it becomes like a tennis match. You know, so you go to the student. Why didn't you try that? Didn't want to. Why did you try that? Didn't want to. Why? So you go, well, I don't care anymore. Just do what you want to do. Yes.
You said about the importance of doing like the things in traditional way rather than in a digital way. But
Yeah.
what about portfolios?
I think
Yeah.
I'm not a Luddite. I don't believe. You know, I believe. You know, I love technology.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say is that I think it's really great if you see a portfolio. First of all, I should see the work and see if it's good or not. Then I can go, okay, they've used Illustrator, they've used Photoshop, or they've done something. If you see the technique overwhelming the idea, so I don't mind it. You know, I think it's really great that, you know, people use. I mean, you've got to use Illustrator if you're doing CAD designs for specs. So yes, you have to use technology. But I still think there's something really wonderful about seeing, you know, the hand that's done it. a friend of mine who's quite a famous fashion designer, he put some of his images, his drawings, up on Instagram. And he said, they are designer drawings. They're not supposed, they're just meant to be for me. They're not, you know, so he did them, you know, they're not being judged as art. He did them because, you know, they were the quick sketches. He knew what he was doing. Obviously, then you go onto different layers where you're having to communicate with a pattern cutter. So you've actually got to be able to know what you're talking about. One book I would say is a really good book on fashion terms or fashion terms and terminology. You know.
But those portfolios that you like go through,
yeah.
Are they usually like Instagram accounts or PDF?
I would see a lot of portfolios are digital portfolios.
Yeah.
I think if they've, I mean, they can still, you know, if you just scan a sketchbook or photograph a sketchbook and show that, that's fine. I think everything looks like it's been done by a machine. And I have a lot of portfolios that look like they've been done by a factory. So you don't know who's done what. There's no language. You know, everything is laid out the same. Keep it simple. You know, it should be just a lovely thing. It should be. Don't overcomplicate it.
Thank you.
Anything else to talk?
No,